Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast, with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Good morning to you. It is a phenomenal Tuesday morning, and yes, you know what time it is. It's time for your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D. So as we hit the road on our way in, let's talk, right? Oh my gosh, I have so much to catch you up on, so much to share with you. It doesn't seem like it's only been a couple of days. It seems like it's been forever. I didn't drop a daily dose of vitamin Dr. D yesterday because if you hadn't already noticed, I released a new conscious conversation with the amazing Dr. Delene Musilek, and she is phenomenal. So I didn't want to cloud the airwaves with my daily dose and this phenomenal conscious conversation about the balancing act. How do you balance your purpose, your profession, and parenting? So you definitely want to tap in, tune in, and check that out. It dropped on Monday. And please remember to share with a friend. Now, what time is it? It is time for us to really get real. I have been on a phenomenal journey, as we all have. But when I say journey, I'm talking about an intense study of me. I have been spending inordinate amounts of time with myself to get additional clarity about myself, where I'm growing, how I'm growing, where I'm going and how I'm growing, just because I felt like I muddled that a little bit. In that, when I started to really ask myself some of the hard questions, I mean like the really hard questions about life, my liberty, my freedoms, and really what I believed about myself and how that impacted what I believed about others, it has been, like I said, mind-blowing. So today, this week, I really want to talk about our beliefs. Our beliefs. And my first question to myself this morning is, what do you believe? What do you believe about you? And the story you tell yourself is critical. It significantly impacts your life. The story you tell yourself will impact how you do business. It will impact how you grow in your career. It'll impact your relationships. It impacts everything. So what is your story? And more than that, are you telling the truth? So, what do you believe about you? Because that impacts what and how you believe about others, how you relate to them, how you interact with them, how you bond with them, how you do business, how you set your business up. So I've been working with several clients about their brand story and really setting the course for brand storytelling and being able to make sure that they have a conscious understanding and awareness of what that is, because how can you present yourself to a client when you don't even know who you are? And how do you figure out which clients you're really called to serve if you don't know who you are? And so that clarity is really important. So I said, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. It really boils down to, what do you believe? Where do your belief systems come from? And when we speak about belief systems, you have to understand that it's not like one day you woke up and you're like, bing, this is my belief. These are my belief systems. It is part of your journey. It is part of your psychological DNA. It is part of the stories that's been told to you and you have been telling yourself since birth. And actually, scientists will say even before birth, when you were in the womb. The cool fact is that a woman is born with all of her eggs. She's born with all of her eggs. So that means when she was in her mother's stomach, all of her eggs were there. So all the impacts, all of the traumas, all of the issues, all of the everything that her mother dealt with has been imparted into her body. and this thus imparted into you, and so on and so forth. You're right, you get the picture. And so when you talk about your beliefs, a lot of people say, I'm lost, or I'm confused, or I have to be this because my parents said, and they go through all these things, and to a certain extent, they're correct. But it doesn't mean you have to stay in that belief zone, but that's where you get it from. That's where you get your biases and even your prejudices. It's like you inherit them. So it's really important when you are listening that you listen to the right things, that you're fueling yourself and your body and your spirit with the right information, with the right fuel for you to grow, with the right food for you to get nourished and to really thrive. And so when I thought about, Dina, what is it that you believe? What do you believe about you and your gifts? I'm not talking about just what you say. What do you actually believe? And when I started to break that down and scaffold that down for what it looked like for me, I had to take a pause break because I realized that I was carrying some inner beliefs that were not reflective on my outer journey. And what I mean by that is that, yes, for the most part, I was still moving, I was still operating, I was still doing things, still working with clients, still, being creative. And what I understand now more than ever is that my inability to really be there for myself, to really just blow out all my own personal projects, stemmed from a limiting belief that I had about my value to me. And then as I start to sit and think about my history, is that I felt that I always had to show up for everybody else. And by showing up for everybody else, that was really my focus, my calling. But the truth to the matter is, the real reality is that my gifts are for me too. My gifts are for me to prosper. My gifts are for me to set a course, to be the catalyst to unlock and unleash and to ignite in others. But guess what? I could do it for me too. It's not selfish to say, you know what, I'm going to spend this time, this month, this 30 days just working on my business. I know that you need me. I know that I would love to be able, to help you. I know that, but right now I need me for me. And so as I sat and started to, really just gnaw down on what I believed about myself, I realized that I had let a lot of external triggers and factors shape my internal thought process, which is normal. We do it. It's not anything that's scary or outside of the norm. But I allowed it to impact me to the point where it was causing stagnation. And that is not okay. Because I have a purpose. I have a mission. My big umbrella vision is to transform, inspire, and empower women, to help them tie it all together, right? And when I began to think about how will I do that, I realized that it starts with me. That for me to create the product, to be the resource, and to not just be the catalytic idea, but actually to be the well that they needed to come to. Which is why I launched the anthology project when I did. Because when God says move, you better move. When God says move, you better move. And it was confirmed and affirmed this morning. And I have my morning conversations often with TD Jakes. And I said, okay, TD, what you going to give me today? And so I popped in, I went on the YouTube, I popped in my TD Jakes. And the first thing that popped up for me says believe. And I thought, wow, interesting. Because I've been speaking a lot about beliefs. I've been speaking a lot about truths. I've been speaking a lot about the stories we tell ourselves. And throughout the message, it literally hit on the 5 major points that I've been working through lately. which point number one, when we talk about they. And I keep saying, who the heck is they? And I told people, and I posted recently on my social media, and I said specifically, they is you. They is you falling victim to your fear. They is you beating yourself up for choices that you made in the past, in situations that you've been in. They is in your head 99% of the time. And that's the story you tell yourself, which is why the stories you tell yourself are so important. Because the stories you tell yourself is linked to what you believe about you. And if you do not stop operating in the truth, if you do not start operating in the truth and telling your stories that you need to hear instead of what you want to hear, or telling yourself stories of fear, you are not going to thrive. And that the opportunities that are for you, but they do have an expiration date. If you don't act, if you don't move, and you're always waiting for that tomorrow it's going to be right, tomorrow it's going to be, then guess what? Your tomorrow, you're going to check on that milk carton, and it's going to be expired. It's going to be curdled. Because if you just would have moved on faith, it's already promised to you. God already mapped it out to and for you. Which brings me to my today, about what I believe. I am making some big, bodacious moves. I mean, scary, bodacious moves. And when I'm driving in the car, I'm riding by myself, and I'm mapping it out. When I say God lays it all out, I've written the whole schematic, the whole map from back to forward and finish and in between. But yet, there's that little they in my head. Really? You think you could do that? Oh, really? What about? And it starts, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you better shut up. Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's happening. And so when that happens, I just move immediately. I take the step. I make the phone call. I ask the person. I sat there on that couch thinking about Walking Through Glass, the book, thinking about Conscious Conversations, thinking about the book tour. How's it coming together? What do I want to be doing in this next life? I'm going to prepare. I'm going to be an empty nester, y'all. Whole nother episode. And I'm like, okay, it's time to move. It's time to start taking action. And so I literally put on social media, I'm working on an anthology project. I'm inviting 10 women to join me on this project as part of this movement. Ding, ding, ding. Inbox started going off. Inboxing me. I'm interested. I was like, wow. Okay. And then a few people got to reach out to them and say, you know what, hey, I think you should be a part of this. And they were like, yes. And I'm still getting inboxes. So in a week's time, I was able to capture those 10. Because our stories are so powerful. So what story you're telling yourself is so critical. What story you are sharing to the world is tied to your beliefs and tied to your transformation, tied to your next greater. So, where are we at on this Tuesday? Let's tell it like it is Tuesday. I'm all in. Either you choose to be all in, or you know what, you're going to be left out. Okay? I'm going to say that again, because that's tweetable. You're going to choose to be all in, or you're going to be left out. What do you believe? What story are you telling yourself? And ask yourself, is it the truth? Is it the truth? Because sometimes the truth is hard, but my goodness, it's so freeing. So today, I challenge you to ask yourself, what's your story? What do you believe? What have you been telling yourself? Are there some errors? Are there some lies? Are there some disconnects? And if they are, fix it. Get clear about that. Get clear. If you want some help, DM me, inbox me. You can reach me at Dr. Dina at drdinaspeaks.com. You can inbox me on Facebook or Twitter, on Instagram at Dr. Dina Speaks. because you definitely don't want to be on this journey alone. Because as we walk through the glass, I'm telling you, is that you need some covering. And so find your tribe and join in and get covered. So that is your daily dose of Vitamin Dr. D today. And remember to do your homework. What do you believe? What's your story? Have a fantastic week, y'all. Bye-bye.